Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we really try to dig into the sources, the articles, all that research, to bring you the most interesting bits, those moments that make you go, aha.
Exactly.
And today we're setting off on a bit of a journey, actually, into the world of someone who's just incredibly skilled at, well, telling stories across pretty much every platform you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking stand-up, TV, film, radio, writing. She's done it all. Moved from comedy clubs in Ireland right into the heart of the New York City media scene. It's quite the story.
It really is.
We are, of course, diving deep into the amazing career of Maeve Higgins.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to kind of unpack that whole career. It's like this complex tapestry, isn't it? We'll look at her path from, those early days doing hidden camera stuff in Ireland.
Naked camera.
Exactly. And then through all those intense festival circuits, performing live all over the place, right up to where she is now a respected author, that really familiar, witty voice you hear on NPR.
Wait, don't tell me.
That's the one. And hosting her own podcasts, too. We really want to explore how her voice, which is so distinct, kind of gentle, subtle, but also incredibly sharp.
Understated.
Yes, understated. How that voice has managed to not just find a place, but actually thrive in so many different creative areas. So hopefully you'll get a real shortcut to understanding just how versatile she is.
That's the plan. We want to pull out the most important bits, the key insights from her career. Not just the obvious stuff, but maybe some of those unexpected turns, the choices she made that really shaped where she ended up.
Deliberate choices, often.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll get a pretty full picture of her work, her style, how it's evolved, and we'll even touch on a time when she faced some public criticism and how she handled that.
Which is part of the story for many public figures.
Absolutely. So yeah, get ready for some surprising facts, hopefully a few of those aha moments we mentioned, and just a real appreciation for the breadth of Maeve Higgins' work, all geared towards your curiosity, of course.
What she really gives us, I think, is this masterclass in being adaptable as an artist. How one really authentic viewpoint, her specific comedic take, can just grow and find its way into almost every medium out there today.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start at the beginning. Every story needs an origin, right? And Maeve Higgins' starts back in Ireland. So we're talking Maeve Anna Higgins, born March 24th, 1981. And the place, Cobb.
Beautiful spot, right?
Like County Cork. Yeah. A really historic harbor town. But now, as we said, she's mostly based in New York City. That's a huge jump, isn't it? From Cobb to NYC.
Oh, massive.
What do you think that does to a comedian, going from a familiar Irish scene to that massive competitive international stage in New York? Must be intense.
It's got to be incredibly intense. I mean, moving from a place like Cobb, which is, relatively small, charming, to the absolute whirlwind of New York's media world. It says so much about her drive, her ambition, but also, I think, about how adaptable her actual comedy is.
Right. Does it translate?
Exactly. And clearly it does, because while her humor definitely has that Irish flavor, that rhythm, there's something universal in her observations. New York, I imagine, was this double-edged sword. Huge challenge, way more competition, you've got to really stand out.
Yeah, find your niche.
But on the other hand, wow, the opportunities, access to so many different platforms, different audiences. It probably forced her to sharpen her voice even more, figure out how to connect with people from all sorts of backgrounds.
Makes sense. That cross-cultural thing is key for lasting talent, I suppose.
Totally. It helps you understand how her kind of specific witty observations manage to work, whether you're hearing them in Cork or, Brooklyn.
Okay, so she's got this background, this journey. When did the comedy thing actually kick off professionally? We usually hear 2005 as the start date.
Yeah, that's the generally cited year.
But, and this is the part I find fascinating, maybe even a bit surprising, her first sort of step into the public eye, media-wise, wasn't straightforward. Back in February 2004, so a year before that official start, she auditioned for The Ray Darcy Show.
On Today FM, yeah. Big Irish radio show.
Right. And here's the kicker. She auditioned for a competition on the show, and she didn't win.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you hear about someone having a pretty public failure right at the very beginning, which then turns into this huge career? It's kind of inspiring, actually.
It It's incredibly telling, isn't it? And I think it's such a key insight for anyone trying to make it in, well, anything creative. That setback.
Yeah.
Failing that audition publicly, most people might just think, okay, that's it, door closed.
Yeah, pack it in.
Right. But she didn't. She somehow turned that failure into this like weird little side door opportunity. She didn't get the main prize, no, but clearly she made an impression. Her personality, her charm,
Yeah.
something clicked. Because pretty soon after, she became a regular contributor on that exact same show. She got her own segment, What Would Maeve Do?
Perfect title.
Isn't it? So it wasn't just about being resilient. It showed this amazing knack she has for pivoting, for seeing in a different angle, like you said, a closed door. Nah, she found an open window right next to it.
Shows real self-belief, I think, even when the system didn't immediately say yes in the conventional way.
Exactly. She believed in her own voice. And that early experience, that kind of having to figure it out herself, reinterpret the situation, those skills must have been invaluable later on when she started navigating all these different platforms. Self-reliance, creative thinking, born right there, maybe.
Yeah, I buy that. And it makes you wonder how much of that is just innate and how much do you learn from those early knocks, you know?
Good question. Nature versus nurture in comedy resilience.
Exactly. So from those early radio days, her actual comedic style started taking shape. And she mainly works in observational comedy and sketch, right? Which probably explains why she connects so well. It's all rooted in stuff we recognize.
Very much so. That observational style especially. It demands such a sharp eye for detail. You know, the little things in human behavior, the unspoken rules, the quiet absurdities of just getting through the day.
Like holding a door or making small talk.
Precisely. It's not about huge political statements, usually. It's about nailing those tiny, fleeting moments that make you go, oh my God, yes, I know exactly what she means. She puts words to those feelings.
There's a real gentleness to it sometimes, even when it's sharp. Like a gentle subversion, maybe?
That's a great way to put it. Gentle subversion. She'll set up something total normal, then just twist it slightly with this deadpan delivery, exposing the weirdness underneath. It invites you to laugh with the observation, not really at anyone.
And sketch comedy lets her stretch a bit more. Play characters.
Yeah, sketch gives her that wider canvas, more theatrical, more about creating distinct personas and situations. So having both those tools, observation and sketch, right from the start, super versatile. Foundational for everything that came later, intimate and broadly appealing. That's her sweet spot.
And it didn't take long for that talent to land her a pretty big early gig on TV. 2005 to 2007, she was a main actor and writer on Naked Camera.
RT, yeah. Hidden Camera Show.
That's Ireland's public broadcaster, for context. And she worked a lot with PJ Gallagher on that, another great Irish comedian.
Yeah.
They're friends.
Yeah, good friends. And working together on a show like Naked Camera.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about a trial by fire.
Seriously. Hitting to the camera seems like the ultimate improv challenge.
It's arguably one of the toughest but best training grounds imaginable. You have got to be sharp. You're reacting instantly, no script, to people who have no idea they're being filmed.
While staying in character.
Exactly. Maintaining a character, making up dialogue on the fly, thinking incredibly fast, all while trying not to blow your cover. It forces you to become hyper-observant of how people behave, how they react, those tiny little tells.
Reading the room, but like the whole street.
Yeah, basically. You learn to anticipate, adapt instantly. These aren't just performance tricks. They're deep insights into human interaction, that foundation. You can see echoes of it in everything she did later, writing essays, riffing on NPR, that ability to be present, observant, witty. Forged right there, I bet.
You could totally see that connection. Okay, so she's got this national TV exposure, honed these amazing improv skills, and then comes the period that, well, every comedian seems to go through, the grind.
Ah, yes, the grinding years.
Right, hitting the road, playing festivals, really hammering out the act night after night. From about 2006 to 2010, Maeve was touring constantly. All over the world, actually, major festivals. This wasn't just about getting gigs, this was serious craft development.
Oh, absolutely essential. That period of intense live performing, often collaborating too, it's where you really figure out who you are on stage. The audience is right there, instant feedback, no hiding.
Brutal sometimes, I imagine.
Can be, but it forces you to learn stagecraft, timing, how to build that connection. And the festival circuit, Edinburgh Fringe, Melbourne, Adelaide, it's like a pressure cooker. Different audiences, different cultures. You have to adapt, refine, keep things fresh. It really makes you tough and versatile.
And she was incredibly active during this time. Lots of different shows, different collaborators. Like in 2006, she did Ha Ha Yum with her sister, Lily Higgins, at Edinburgh.
Yeah, Lily's a well-known food writer and chef now, right? Interesting early collaboration.
Very. Then 2007, she took Slightly Amazing to the Adelaide Fringe in Australia. Another show, My News, back to Edinburgh. Working with family like that early on must have been a safe space to try things out.
Probably, yeah. And working with peers, too, like Claudia O'Doherty later, it gives you that instant feedback loop. Someone to bounce ideas off, maybe push each other creatively, trying different styles, maybe more personal stuff with her sister, maybe something else entirely.
And these festivals are famous for letting you experiment.
Yeah.
You might do your main solo show, but also pop up in compilation shows, do weird late-night things.
Exactly. It encourages that kind of cross-pollination and trying new things. You can see how doing all that back then really set her up for being comfortable jumping between different kinds of projects later on.
She kept that up, didn't she? 2008, she took Ha Ha Yum, that show with her sister, to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, but this time with Claudia O'Doherty.
Right. Another great, slightly surreal comedian. Good pairing.
Then, same year, back in Edinburgh, she had a show called Kitten Brides, which just sounds perfectly Maeve Higgins somehow.
Doesn't it? You can
Come
almost
on.
picture it. Whimsical, but maybe a little dark.
Maybe. And she also performed in a children's play that year in Edinburgh, I Can't Sleep, written by David O'Doherty. She performed it with him. That's quite a range in just one festival season.
That is impressive. Adult stand-up, sketch, and then a kids' play. It shows incredible versatility right from the get-go. Performing for kids requires a totally different energy, different timing, a different way of connecting.
Totally different skill set.
And working with David O'Doherty, another really inventive, unique comedian, often uses music. That would have been a fantastic learning experience, too. Different structures, different approaches, all feeding into her own development, constantly mixing it up, collaborating, adapting. That forces you to find out just how flexible your own voice can be.
That adaptability again, it keeps coming up. And that process over years really seems like the key to her being able to jump between platforms later.
Without a doubt.
So the momentum continues. 2009, she revisits those shows. Kitten Brides and I Can't Sleep are back at the Melbourne Festival. And she takes Kitten Brides all the way to New Zealand.
So she's building on success, refining those shows, taking them to new audiences. That's important, too. It's not just about creating endless new stuff, but about making the good stuff really work, building that solid repertoire and reputation on the international circuit.
Getting the miles in.
Exactly. And getting known.
Yeah.
That consistent touring, showing up year after year, it builds credibility. Priceless experience.
And then 2010 throws another curveball that really highlights that adaptability. She's performing a show called A Rare Sight with Nick Coyle. They do it in Brisbane and Melbourne.
Okay.
But then when it's time for the New Zealand International Comedy Festival leg, Nick Coyle has to have shoulder surgery and can't make it.
Oh, wow. What happened?
She performs A Rare Sight solo, just pivots and does the show herself. And she also did another solo show, Personal Best, at Edinburgh that same year. Adapting a duo show to solo like that, last minute, that takes serious guts and skill.
That is seriously impressive. It shows real professionalism, a deep understanding of the material, and just confidence, being able to carry alone when needed, turning a problem into, well, maybe a chance to shine individually.
Totally. So that whole period, 2006 to 2010, all that touring, collaborating, dealing with the unexpected, it wasn't just about jokes. It was building the foundation, the reputation, the resilience for everything that came next.
Absolutely. You really see how vital that live performance grind is. It's where you earn your stripes before you can really leverage that talent on bigger platforms like TV or film. It's the bedrock.
Exactly. And all that work definitely started to pay off in a bigger way. She starts expanding, really moving beyond just live comedy, TV, film, writing. Things start opening up. And 2009 was a key year here because she gets her own TV show.
Maeve Higgins' Fancy Vittles. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Huge leap, right?
Yeah.
Going from being maybe a guest or part of an ensemble like Naked Camera to suddenly headlining your own show on national television.
It's a massive vote of confidence. It means the network, Arte, again, I believe, saw her unique voice, saw her appeal, and trusted her to carry a whole show. And she wasn't just the star, right? She was writing it, too, probably heavily involved in the whole concept.
Yeah, definitely writing. Star and writer.
So she's taking on this much bigger creative role. It's her platform to really define her style, her vision, directly to the audience. A major step up in terms of creative control and visibility.
And her TV presence kept growing. She became a pretty familiar face, not just on her own show, but popping up everywhere, as herself on panel shows, talk shows.
Yeah, lots of those appearances.
Like Spicks and Specks in Australia back in 2008, Tuberty Tonight in Ireland a couple of times, Podge and Raj talking about your generation, even David O'Doherty's show.
Building that profile as Maeve Higgins is a personality.
Exactly. But then there's that one appearance that really stands out as showing her wider appeal. 2015, she's on Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right. That's the one. That is fascinating. It's not your typical comedy panel show, is it?
Not at all. Talking astrophysics and cosmic queries.
It says so much about how her humor works. It's not just jokes. It's intelligent. It's accessible. She can hang in that kind of conversation. It shows she connects with a different kind of audience, too. People interested in science, big ideas, but who also appreciate wit.
Her kind of quiet, observational style maybe cuts through in a different way there.
I think so. She doesn't need to be the loudest voice. She can offer that slightly wry, smart take that connects comedy and intellectual curiosity. It really broadened her perceived range, especially in the U.S. market, I'd imagine. Made her seem like more than just a comedian.
And she wasn't just playing herself on TV. She was acting, too, taking on roles in scripted stuff.
Yeah, showing that dramatic side, or at least character acting side.
Like way back in 2006, she was in a thing called Magic. Then she was in Mooney Boy in 2012.
Which was a great, critically loved Irish comedy series created by Chris O'Dowd. Being part of that ensemble was another good credit.
Definitely. And then, significantly for her U.S. profile, she pops up on Inside Amy Schumer in 2015.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. Inside Amy Schumer was huge. Critically acclaimed, Emmy-winning. Very sharp, topical, feminist sketch comedy.
Getting a spot on that show would have been a major signal, right? Especially for an Irish comedian breaking into the U.S. scene. Absolutely.
It put her in front of a really influential American audience, people who follow comedy closely, cultural commentary. It showed she could fit into that high-caliber sketch environment, that her style worked within that very American, very specific comedic sensibility. A definite boost to her recognition stateside.
And then, just to show even more range, in 2016, she does voice work for Doc McStuffins.
Yes. As Gillian the Giraffe, I think.
That sounds right. From hidden cameras and Amy Schumer sketches to a beloved kids' cartoon.
It just hammers home the versatility point again, doesn't it? Adapting her voice, her timing for a completely different audience, a different medium. It shows she's not boxed in by genre at all. She can do the wry adult stuff and the bright, engaging kids' entertainment. That's real range.
All these different roles, these experiences, it feels like they were all building towards something bigger in film. And that came in 2019 with Extraordinary.
Her first starring role in a movie.
Yeah, he played the lead, Rose Dooley, in this really charming Irish supernatural comedy.
Getting that lead role? That's a huge milestone. It's the filmmaker saying, we trust you to carry this entire movie. You're the heart of it. It's not just about being funny in short bursts. It's about anchoring a whole story, emotionally and comedically.
And the film did pretty well, critically, didn't it? It had a really specific, quirky charm.
It did. It felt very suited to her style. It showed she could absolutely handle that larger canvas of a feature film, draw audiences in for 90 minutes plus. A major achievement, proving her abilities went way beyond stand-up or TV sketches.
So she's conquered live comedy, TV, voice acting, starring movie roles. But wait, there's more.
Always more with Maeve Higgins.
She also becomes this really respected writer, not just scripts, but books, essays.
Which feels like such a natural progression, doesn't it? Given her observational skills and her experience writing for TV.
Totally. Her first book came out in 2012. We Have a Good Time, Don't We? A collection of essays.
Published by Hachette, a major publisher. That's significant, too.
Then in 2018, reflecting that big life change, came Eve in America. More essays, presumably about that transition.
Yeah, exploring that experience of being an immigrant, finding her way in a new country, all through her unique lens.
And then most recently, 2022, Tell Everyone on This Train I Love Them, another collection.
The titles alone give you a sense of her voice, don't they? Quirky, warm, slightly melancholic, maybe.
Exactly. And moving into writing essays. It seems like a perfect fit for her comedy style. It allows for that deeper dive, more reflection than a stand-up set might.
Absolutely. You can explore nuances, tell longer stories, connect observations in a different way. The skills are related. Joke structure isn't that different from crafting a good sentence or paragraph, but the form allows for more depth, more introspection.
And she was writing for newspapers too, right? Like the Irish Times?
Yeah, regular columns.
Yeah.
Which again hones that ability to deliver insightful, often funny commentary in a concise written form. It all feeds into this identity as a writer, someone with a distinct perspective on the world, expressed beautifully in prose.
It's just amazing how she uses all these different platforms, TV, film, books, to explore different sides of her storytelling, reaching you, the listener or reader, in so many different ways.
It really is. And what strikes me is how interconnected it all feels. It's not like she just randomly jumped between things. The skills from stand-up and hidden camera clearly informed her TV writing.
Right.
That narrative sense then grows into the essays in her books. And all those experiences, the insights gained, they then feed into what she does next, like her radio and podcast work. It's like each medium adds another layer, another dimension to her overall creative voice. She uses the strengths of each platform perfectly. A real masterclass in cross-platform artistry, as we said at the start.
Okay, so let's talk about that next layer then, radio and podcasts. Because her voice literally became a really key part of her identity, reaching huge new audiences through audio. We mentioned her early radio stuff in Ireland.
What would Maeve do? Yeah, the very beginning.
But she also popped up on UK radio, like on The Unbelievable Truth.
Fantastic show. Hosted by David Mitchell. She was on Series 16 back in 2016.
For people who don't know it, can you explain the format? It's quite clever.
It's brilliant. Each comedian gives a short lecture on a topic, trying to sound completely factual, but buried in their lecture are a certain number of lies, usually 4 or 5. The other panelists have to buzz in and identify the lies.
So you need to be a convincing liar, basically.
Well, yes, but also knowledgeable enough to deliver the true facts convincingly. It requires quick thinking, great delivery, the ability to bluff, and that sharp wit to play along. It's a perfect showcase for her kind of subtle, intelligent humor. You have to weave the absurd seamlessly into the factual.
Sounds right up her street. But then, showing that range again, she also did something completely different in radio. She produced documentaries.
Yeah, like Valentine's Bones for Arte Radio 1. That's a different beast entirely.
Totally. Moving from a comedy panel show to crafting a documentary, it shows a really different side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
More serious, maybe? Journalistic, even.
Definitely journalistic. It takes research, structure, interviewing skills, finding a narrative arc. It shows a real depth of interest beyond just making people laugh. An intellectual curiosity and the ability to tell stories with more emotional weight, more reflection. It proves she's not just a comedian who does audio, but a genuine audio creator interested in the full potential of the medium.
But probably her biggest splash in American audio, certainly in radio, came with NPR. She became a regular on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Since 2018, yeah. And that is huge.
Explain why that's such a significant platform for her in the U.S.
Well, Wait, Wait is just massively popular. It has this huge, loyal audience across the U.S. People who listen to NPR tend to be educated, engaged, interested in current events, and they appreciate smart humor. Being a regular panelist brings our voice, literally, into millions of ears every week.
And the show's style. It's witty, fast-paced, news-based. How does her particular style fit in there?
I think it fits beautifully, actually, because while it is fast and witty, her contributions often have that characteristic understatement. She doesn't always go for the obvious joke. She'll come in with this quiet, sharp observation about a news story that just lands perfectly. It cuts through the noise. It cemented her as a known comedic voice in the U.S., someone who could comfortably play in that very American, very established public radio space, but still sound entirely like herself.
That's key, isn't it? Not losing your own voice while fitting in.
Critical, and she managed it brilliantly.
And her audio work wasn't just panel shows. She got involved in some really innovative podcasting, too, like Everything is Alive.
Yeah. Radiotopia. Great podcast network known for pushing boundaries. She was in the episode Maeve Lamppost in 2018.
Okay, tell us about Everything is Alive. The concept is unusual.
It's wonderfully unusual. The host, Ian Chalag, interviews inanimate objects, like a can of generic cola, a pillow, a lamppost, and the guest plays the object.
So maybe played.
Lamppost.
Apparently so. And to do that well, you need incredible imagination, empathy. You have to somehow give this non-human thing a personality, a history, feelings, maybe even jokes. It's about bringing character and story to the mundane. It really makes you think about what storytelling can be.
That requires serious creative chops.
Totally. It shows she's up for experimenting, for trying these really abstract creative formats, not just sticking to the tried and tested.
And then taking even more control, she became a podcast host herself, Mothers of Invention, also started in 2018.
Yeah, co-hosting originally with Mary Robinson, the former president of Ireland, which is amazing in itself.
Wow. What's the significance of her moving into hosting her own show? Well, it's that next step in creative evolution. Being a guest is one thing. Being a panelist is another. Hosting means you're setting the agenda. You're shaping the whole conversation, choosing the topics, guiding the narrative. It gives you way more autonomy.
You get to explore things you really care about.
Exactly. And Mothers of Invention focuses on feminist solutions to climate change, interviewing women around the world doing amazing work. It allows her to use her platform, her voice, her interviewing skills to explore these really important substantive themes. It shows her moving from purely entertainment into advocacy and deeper exploration, leading her own media project. It's a major step.
So this whole journey, incredible growth, constant adaptation, finding success across just about every medium imaginable.
Truly remarkable.
But, being a public figure, especially one who uses personal stories and commentary, it's rarely a completely smooth ride, is it? There are often bumps, moments of public attention that aren't always positive.
That's definitely true. The more public you become, the more scrutiny you face. And sometimes things you say or do, even casually, can touch a nerve or intersect with sensitive issues in unexpected ways.
Which brings us to an incident that generated quite a bit of discussion and concern involving Maeve Higgins. It's often referred to as the assistant's dog controversy.
Right. And this really highlights those challenges public figures face, especially now with social media amplifying everything instantly. It's about that tricky intersection of comedy, personal stories, and social sensitivities.
Okay, let's just lay out the basic facts as reported. On March 30th, 2018, Maeve was on the Irish Late Late Show. Big, live, national TV show.
Very high-profile platform in Ireland.
And during the interview, she told a story. She said she'd bought a service dog vest online, mentioned Amazon specifically, and she used this vest to pass off her own pet dog as an assistance dog so she could take it in the cabin on a flight across the Atlantic.
And importantly, this was her telling the story herself. It wasn't something someone else revealed. She offered it up as an anecdote.
Right. That's key. It was self-disclosed, presented as, perhaps, a slightly mischievous personal tale.
Which is often the currency of comedians, right? Those relatable stories of bending the rules or navigating awkward situations. But this one touched on a specific sensitive area.
It did, because immediately after the show aired, she faced quite a backlash. Significant criticism came from disability campaigners, advocacy groups.
People who rely on genuine assistance dogs.
Exactly. And RT, the broadcaster, they confirmed they received a lot of official complaints about that segment of the interview. So it clearly struck a chord, and not in a good way, with a significant part of the audience.
And you can understand why. The issue of legitimate assistance animals is incredibly important for people with disabilities. Faking it, even as a one-off anecdote, well, it can be seen as trivializing the vital role these animals play.
Undermining their legitimacy.
Potentially, yeah. Or creating more skepticism and hassle for people who genuinely need them to navigate the world. It raises questions about access, about respect, about the real-world impact of seemingly small deceptions when they relate to disability aids.
So there was this public reaction, the complaints. How did Maeve Higgins respond?
She did respond. She issued an apology afterwards, directed towards anyone who was offended or hurt by what she'd said and done.
So an acknowledgement of the impact it had.
Yes, which leads to that bigger question, doesn't it? What does an incident like this tell us? Not just about her, but about public figures generally. What are the responsibilities when your personal stories, maybe told for laughs, bump up against issues that deeply affect certain communities?
Especially today, when everything can blow up online so quickly.
Exactly. It forces a conversation about intent versus impact. Maybe the intent was just a funny story, but the impact was felt very differently by people directly affected by the issue.
It's a really fine line for comedians, isn't it? Their job often involves pushing boundaries, using personal experience, finding humor in awkwardness or rule breaking. Does something like this change how a comedian approaches their material or how audiences see them?
It must be incredibly difficult to navigate. If your comedy is built on being relatable, honest, maybe a bit mischievous, an incident like this can definitely complicate that relationship with the audience. It might make a performer more cautious about certain topics.
Or at least think harder about the potential implications beyond just the joke itself.
Precisely. It forces a recognition that even a seemingly small, personal anecdote shared on a large platform can have ripple effects, can carry weight beyond its comedic intention. The speed and reach of modern media mean that context can get lost and reactions can be intense. It really underscores that amplified responsibility that comes with having a public voice.
It makes you think about that line between personal expression and social responsibility, especially for people in the public eye.
It absolutely does. And how those lines are constantly being negotiated and renegotiated, both by the public figures themselves and by us, the audience. It's a moment that probably prompted a lot of reflection for her and for people watching.
Well, we have certainly covered a lot of ground today, journeying through Maeve Higgins' incredibly varied career. I mean, from hitting cameras and packed festival
Those
tents,
grinding years.
yeah, to starring on TV, in films, writing best-selling books, becoming a familiar voice on NPR, leading innovative podcasts. It's quite something.
It really is.
And you've really seen how her unique humor, that sharp observation, that amazing adaptability, how it let her succeed across all these different arenas, and also how she navigated a moment of public challenge, acknowledged it, and continued moving forward.
Her career really is this powerful example of what happens when a unique, authentic voice meets relentless creativity and hard work. It shows how one person's talent can find so many different ways to express itself, always evolving, always reaching further.
It highlights that persistence you need, doesn't it? And the sheer guts to just keep trying new things, pushing into new creative spaces. Hopefully you've gained some really valuable insights from her journey into just what it takes to build that kind of modern, multi-platform creative life.
Absolutely. A real testament to resilience and reinvention.
So as we finish up this deep dive, here's something to maybe chew on, a final thought for you. When creative people like Maeve Higgins operate across so many platforms, blurring lines between performance, writing, podcasting, sharing so much of their perspective, what kind of responsibilities do they actually carry towards us, their audience?
That's a big question.
It is. And maybe how does the way we consume all this content, the TV shows, the books, the podcasts, or reactions online, how does that influence these public figures and maybe even shape the future of entertainment itself? Just something to think about as you go about your day.
Definitely food for thought. It's conversation that's always changing, always evolving, much like the careers of the fascinating people we get to explore here.